Hello, everyone, and welcome to this amazing Talk Tuesday. It's about self-love and experiencing somatic experiencing, and why somatic experience is so important and connected to self-love. Lori and I, we take everything to a different level regarding our own personal well-being, and so we consider it all self-love in the space that anytime you shift and change your awareness, your ability of stuff, you are creating self-love. Sorry, am I showing up on the screen at all?
Yeah, you
Okay,
look
great. Okay,
on
because
my
it
end.
was black on my side and somebody else who was off camera was up there. So I was checking around to see if we were on. Okay, wonderful. All right, Lori. So how do we want to jump in on this? This is such
Yeah,
an important topic, and part of it we get to share some of an experience or an experience that I've had with somatic experiencing that I think is so important and why we're calling this self-love. So
mhm.
take
Yeah,
us where we want to
yeah,
go,
yeah.
sister.
And I'm excited to get into that because I know when we talk about somatic experiencing, until you start to have some real life events with it, some experiences with it, we don't really know what it is. If we haven't experienced things, our brain doesn't have a reference for it. And so being able to hear your experience with it is going to be really valuable. And I want to start out today and I want to kind of examine that question of what is self-love? What is self-love? And I think that we would all define it maybe a little bit differently, but I think there are some general core meanings that we can get at today. And, because the self part is often kind of loaded, I wanted to ask, what is it, the relationship of love? How do you show other people that you love them? And how do they show you that you love them, or that they love you rather? So if you guys would be so willing, put in the chat something that you do that when you want people to know that you love them, or something that you've been able to receive that you like to receive that shows that you're loved. Let's get a couple things in the chat here so that we can start to build this definition of what is love in general, right? And how do we express that to each other?
I've also made you co-screen share and co-host. Okay, there.
So Anna knows she's loved when she feels at ease. Yeah, definitely. Feeling at ease.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. What else? How else do you know that? Oh, accepted. Absolutely. Yeah. You feel accepted, right? And I put that down also, Nicole. And when I also said, that without judgment, which means the same thing, right? I'm accepted. I'm not judged. I can be who I am without feeling that it's wrong, or I should be or shouldn't be something in particular. That is definitely an important one. What else? What else makes you, or if you can give me a list, like my, ideal partner or my ideal friend, this is what they kind of do for me, or again, that I might do for them. I made a list myself and we can, oh, Emma's showing
Oh,
some love.
you saw sugar. Yay. Yes,
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
we have another great one, which is encouragement. Absolutely. And I put that one down too, Carol. I put it as as offering, support through words and guidance. But yeah, encouragement, exact same thing. Respected and validated. Yeah. Nurtured. Exactly. Exactly. And these are all things that I wrote down as well. Yeah. Be myself. Yes. A place to be authentic. I said that, some other things were making time for the other person, right? When you schedule things, you actually, have time when you're attentive, right? And that's another thing, being attentive, listening, really listening, and being present with somebody, right, is a way that we can give and receive love, without judgment, being ourselves, respected, validated, supported, or encouraged through words, through actions, through, through guidance, right? When we love each other, we help, we guide, and appreciate, I need advice, that's what, and it's certainly one of the things that I love so much, Mia, is that, when I need advice, you're the, first person that I go to, and that makes me feel loved, right? To be a safe place. And I think that encompasses some of the things that we talked about. The other thing that we might not think about or realize, but as soon as I say it, you're going to be like, oh, yeah. And that's touch, right? Touch is so important. As humans, it is extremely important. We know that there's been a lot of research actually that was created by our COVID experience that shows us how important touch really is. And all of these things, we think about, it was easy for you guys to come up with this list when we were talking about others, right? How we relate to others and how we want others to relate to us. But when we ask the question of self-love, sometimes me and I start with and try to help people understand a little bit what self-love is, and people don't really have a good idea about what self-love really is. And they think, well, it's maybe it's a little bit stop beating myself up, which is good, yes. Or, getting myself massages, which is also good. But self-love is all of these things that we just made a list about, but turned on yourself. So making time for yourself. And I know people always say, well, I spend every second with myself. What do you mean make time with myself? I'm always with myself. But we're not always with ourselves, right? I'm sure you can think of experiences where you've been with people, but they weren't there with you, right? They were distracted, or they were, kind of either talking over you or just not really hearing you, not really experiencing you. And we can do that with ourselves, unfortunately. And some of us have done it so much that we don't even realize that there is no true time that we're spending with ourselves. So that could look like a lot of things. That could look like, going for a walk with yourself without listening to things, but really just being attentive and paying attention. It could be like my morning ritual involves time with myself and my journal where, I don't know necessarily that there's something on my heart that needs to come out that day, but I still sit down with my journal and just whatever comes out, comes out. It may be profound. It may be something really important. And it may just be, oh, this came to my mind today. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be profound for me to be there and showing up and listening to myself in my inner world. So think about the way you make time for yourself, listening to yourself, really being attentive. And of course, this piece of not having judgment, right? How often do you tell yourself, oh, I shouldn't be thinking that? Either because it's bad or because, oh, that's undesirable or that's not positive. So I shouldn't be thinking that or feeling that, right? Well, of course, you're allowed to have thoughts and feelings that aren't positive. These are parts of you and very much important parts of you that deserve to be honored and validated, as Aubrey said. And guidance, right? Seeking that guidance, not from our mind that's all busy with, taking everything in, but seeking guidance from that core of who we are, our higher selves, right? And going to ourselves for advice, but not the kind of advice where we feel like we're being tossed about, but the kind of advice that comes from that deep knowing. Being a safe place, right? And that's, I think, Anna said, when I'm at ease, yeah, having that ease, having that beautiful, I feel safe feeling, because we co-regulate as humans. That's one of the ways that we're wired and designed. So how can I give myself and be a safe place for myself? And finally, that touch. How can I give myself touch that feels supportive and loving and regulating. We have this beautiful hormone oxytocin, this chemical that is released in our body in response to touch. And it is released even through our own touch of ourselves. And so, why deny ourselves this beautiful hit of this natural hormone that makes us feel loved and cared for? And, there's a lot of ways that we teach, and Mia has many, many tools, and we will continue to teach this and support people with this. But today we chose to bring you a tool that takes care of all of these things, right? That allows you to spend time with yourself, support yourself, offer guidance, touch, all the things. And that is somatic experiencing. And, basically what somatic experiencing is, it is communicating with your nervous system. And although there are specific exercises that are taught and performed, I always really stress that it's not about going through the motions of these exercises. It's not about kind of methodically just doing it for the sake of doing it. It's really doing it for the sake of opening to the information, to sitting down with your nervous system attentively, like we've been talking about, and really asking, what do you need? How can I support you? How do you like this? Right? So just for example, there's a beautiful somatic experiencing exercise called containment. And containment is basically a self-hug, but there's a lot of different ways and a lot of different variations that can be done. And so if we just take a really basic exercise like this, containment can look like just kind of wrapping yourself, hands on opposite shoulders. And some people who do this say, oh, I don't like that. That feels like a straitjacket. I feel confined. I feel it makes me nervous. Totally fine. The beauty of it is that you don't have to do it any particular way. So if someone went into somatic experiencing and I said, okay, let's do a containment exercise, and they do this and their nervous system says, oh, I don't like this, right? They might say, oh, no, somatic experiencing, I tried it. I don't like it, right? So that it's not the point to just go in and do an exercise and say, this is supposed to make me feel this way. And it didn't. And so it didn't work for me, right? It's about what would happen if I try this on? Maybe what would happen if I put left under and right over? Oh, that's interesting. What does my nervous system want to share with me about how this feels? Oh, my nervous system doesn't like up high, or it hurts my neck muscles to have my arms this way. Well, what if I just did one arm? How would that feel? What if I did super tight like this? What if I did really, really loose? What if I just did, one hand here and one hand on my belly? And so the choices being pretty infinite, right? As far as how we could do this one exercise. And if we go into it with the intention of satisfying this list of self-love, right? This is me spending time with me. This is me listening, being quiet, being non-judgmental about what my experience is. Being a mentor in a large somatic experiencing course, I learned really in a very hands-on way that we can have so many different types of experiences with the same exact exercise. So we'll all do a containment exercise, and as I was saying before, one person might say, oh my gosh, that made me panic because I felt like I was being constrained. And for somebody with maybe some feeling held down in their background, that makes sense, right? So again, it's truly not about doing this exercise that's supposed to make me feel this way. It's opening up a space, a time that you've set aside to be with yourself for the purpose of getting feedback, opening that communication, right? And so we're satisfying this list of things. We're listening to ourselves. We're not judging. We're supporting ourselves. And it may sound silly, or it may not have been something that has really supported you in the past to pay attention to yourself or to, do these kinds of things for yourself. And that makes sense. But And it's consistency is such an important aspect to building a somatic experiencing practice. And so it's okay if the first time or the first 38 times it doesn't feel amazing. If you dedicated yourself and gave yourself this month, say the month of November, every day I'm going to make some time for myself, and I'm going to practice at least one somatic experiencing exercise with no expectations of how each practice should go, but looking at the trends and looking at, over the course of the month, what happens. And that is something, when people are willing to do that, just go into it without the expectation, with just creating a loving environment for yourself to be, something always happens. Never had somebody come back after a month of somatic experiencing dedicated practice and say, yeah, there was just nothing. Maybe a week, because our systems have to sometimes get used to that.
Can I add something on
Yeah,
to that?
yeah.
I really love, so because we all know Lori as the somatic, the trauma, the beautiful work like that. She's also very much a self-love queen. I am too. I've been teaching self-love for, I don't know, 16 years. This is where it comes together, everyone. This is the point, that you get to know yourself. So in these exercising, also be open, because the fields are different, right? We're all uniquely different. We're raised different. We don't like certain things. So in this coming forward, allow yourself, journal it if something comes up. There's a reason why you don't like this, right? The first time I did this was the first time I did mirror work. I did mirror work, and when I said, I love you, I immediately said, no, I don't.
Hmm.
And I started to do this, and I'm like, oh, you're a weirdo. I was 24, it's like, I don't know, 36 years ago or something. And I'm like, you're a weirdo. So I was judging myself. So be aware of the things that you're not a weirdo. It's just something new. And so be aware of how you're feeling, where it's coming from, because this is why this stuff works so well and blends so beautifully together. Because the truth about somatic experiences, because you want to feel better. Where does that stem from? Self-love, right? We don't want to be in misery. We want to feel better. So be aware of your feelings that are coming up, and also put in, well, what if I'm doing this because it's good for me? The experience, the touch, the connection to self. So just take that little bit and see where that makes you feel. Because when we started talking about touch, there's something that humans have to have, which we know, and that is touch, right? Not just from ourselves, but from others. And if we can't get it from others, we have to get it from massages, or we even just have to get it from ourselves, right? Rubbing, all of this is good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And there are certainly other techniques
Yeah.
that can be used. But, I do want to get to, Mia, your experience to kind of show us, well, what does it look like in real life from somebody who's developed a practice and who can hear from your nervous system, right? We will all get to that point if we decide that we're going to be consistent and dedicated to this practice. But what I would love to offer us is, in the month of November, ask yourself, do I have 3 to 5 minutes a day to, do this little challenge for 30 days, and really offer myself a short somatic experiencing practice each of these days, 30 times. And you can certainly do it more than one time during the day. And what I would love is, we can offer four options for you to kind of try on, to just use in order to gather that information. So remember, you're not doing them for any particular purpose, but to open yourself up to gathering some information. You could have a journal with you, like Mia saying, like, wow, what did I experience? We don't have to dive too deeply into the story of what's coming up, because sometimes that's not helpful. We can really just support the body and do it in a somatic way. The thoughts can kind of come and go, but this is a place for your body and for energy to be metabolized and to be felt and experienced. So Well, the one that we just talked about, the containment exercise, is a great one that you can use just to gather information. Remember, I shared some of the different variations, and the idea is just to not necessarily go into and settle in one place, but to play around with it a little bit until you reach that point where it's like, oh, your body says, "Oh, right there, that's it." This is where it feels best, and then just hang on to that for a minute or two. And so that's the containment. That's one option. Mia, do you want to walk us through the VU? I know you're have that's one of your favorites now.
It comes out even when I don't expect it. I love the VU, and so this experience has opened me up to also a different spiritual path too, believe it or not. I just have to share my information. So our vagus nerve is the big nerve right down here that goes through our body. And as we rattle it with the woo, and we'll also do that together, it's doing a lot of things. So we start to do the VU right now, I'll do it and you guys do it with me. And if you don't want to, it's okay. But be aware of how it's making you feel in your body. And we'll talk about that afterwards briefly. Okay. So
Perfect.
you can count to 3, you can jump in, you can just spit it out however you want. So you breathe in and then you VU out until I do it until I can't go anymore. And the really cool thing about this, if you begin to use this as a tool in your body, what I believe is that you're going to use it as a tool when you absolutely need it. So here's my experience. First of all, before we do that, does anybody want to write in the chat how it made them feel in their body?
Yeah, and there's no expectation. Like, it doesn't have to feel anything.
Especially at first.
Yeah, first you're just like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this? Should I do this?
Very
Um,
open heart and calm. Yeah,
mm,
beautiful, Carol.
yeah.
Um, so many know that I've had a journey of cancer over the last 3.5, 4 years, and I've healed this thing holistically. Then it came back again, and I went through chemo and got curly hair from it. And then it popped back up again. I have a rogue gene that is keeping it coming back. So my choice was, when I found that out, was to have a mastectomy, which is a very hard thing for anyone. It's an amputation of a body part, and I've been keeping it at bay. So for years, for 4 years almost. So when I had my mastectomy, and this work has shifted me in the way I healed, in the way I responded to my current trauma, right? Because when you're feeling like you've had open heart surgery or something from something very painful, whether your arm's broken, whatever, I would go into, instead of that, when it would hit me, that pain instantly, it's like there was something else that took over me. I would woo through the pain, and then I would ground myself with, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. And all the exhale of pain and suffering would leave my body instantly, instantly. And so when we develop, I also believe in, and is this right, Lori? As we develop these practices in our body, neurologically, it's checking us too. And it's recorrecting and shifting us, because not just this nerve that's rattling, right, within us, but we're training ourselves that this is the space, these exercises are what bring comfort. And they do. And twice after I was out of I was fortunate enough to have a private nurse and to be in a hotel. I was supposed to be there for a month, and at 2 weeks I came home, started teaching classes and everything crazy.
Yeah.
But I did have two experiences where I went into panic attacks. I've been very fortunate with my healing. And immediately in the car, I wasn't driving, I was a passenger, but immediately the VOO came out, right? And then because there was massive fear at that point. And then I'm safe. And then to move along my business like normally. There was one thing I wanted to mention about the VOO that I recognized last year, that spiritually I believe that it's connected to us too, is our soul resides within our body. The belief is that it resides between the neck and the pelvic area towards the spine. It's energy. And so it wakes it up when you create a movement, not only getting to know yourself through all the elements of clearing away your trauma and all that, allowing your soul to be you, it actually rattles through with the VOO and wakes up. And you will notice that if you utilize this as part of your daily treatment, I call things treatments because they're that important to me to do. So whether it's your practice, whether it's whatever you're doing, recognize that you are healing more than just your human body, your meat sack. You are a complete being, body, mind, and spirit. And so that's the purpose of awakening everything and healing everything within you so you can fully be alive.
Yeah. Yeah. How incredible. Thank you for sharing that. And I would just, validate how wonderful it was. Me and I as business partners, we had planned for this period for her to be out, for an extended period of time and this and that. And then so imagine my surprise when at 2 weeks she's saying, hey, I'm going to be on this, or this is what I was working on today. And wow, just completely unexpected. Certainly, no one in the medical community would say this is what I expect for you. So it's really beautiful to see, and also just to be a witness to, her sharing, like, wow, I had this experience, and our somatic experiencing practices are, are so serving me right now in ways that I've never had the chance to use them. And so watching them and seeing how powerful they were. And you bring up some really good points about with your experience, and that is, so much of the experience of pain and discomfort is in the brain. And that's not to say it isn't real. It's, of course it's real, but the brain is interpreting the signals that are coming from the nerves out in the body in a certain way. So if you are in an environment in which you aren't feeling safe and you experience a stimulation in your nerves, the brain is automatically going to register that, hey, this is really bad. And this is, it's a really big thing and it's really serious. Right. And that same exact thing witnessed in a environment where you're feeling safe and calm might not register hardly at all in your brain. And so Mia was providing safety for herself, and that really had an effect on the pain. And actually there's a lot of pain research that is supported by, the nervous system and regulation. So it's powerful in so many different aspects. And having it already in your tool bag was really key, because it wasn't something new and dangerous. Because if you're in and having just witnessed or experienced a trauma in your body, obviously it was one that was planned, one that was necessary and all that, but nonetheless it was a traumatic event. And so having just experienced that, that's probably not the time to start a whole new practices, because your nervous system is like, wait, I'm already struggling. Like, I don't need something else new and scary. I don't know what this is. And so it's not very well received. So building these practices, using them outside the moment, they're going to be there for you in the moment. Like Mia was saying, it's just automatic. And the same is true for me. I'm just, driving down the road. Oh, I'm feeling a touch, activated. Okay, wooing. And, the kids are in the car and they're like, oh, mom's wooing again. Don't mind her. Everything's good. So that's just really those two things really stood out to me. So far for your 30 days of November that we're challenging you. And Aubrey, I saw your question and I definitely have some ideas that we can speak to right after we give the other two ideas for you to try on.
Oh, also, everybody, this is a great idea to add this as a practice, but we also have the I am self-love challenge.com. So we're going to talk about that too. That
Yeah.
starts on Monday, the 6th of November. The 6th of November. Can you believe we're in November? Wow. And what's really crazy is we're doing it off of one of my books, the challenge, so you guys get the digital download. But I am really thinking of putting together, Lori, a somatic challenge. We need to do an I am self-love somatic challenge. So I think
We
that'll be coming.
absolutely do.
Yeah,
Let's get that. Yeah. And
yeah.
this can be, you guys can be kind of the
Our guinea pigs.
first is
No, I'm
just our
kidding.
kind of informal one. We really didn't think about, setting this up as a challenge, but let's every time we come on in November, let's just kind of check in with that and we can be, hold each other, to some degree of supportive accountability and just recommitting. And even if you don't do it or you haven't done it as much, every time we come back, we'll remind, we'll recommit, because it can be incredibly powerful, especially if you're using along with this I am self-love. So the next one would be that we could suggest, and there are so many. We actually have a library of them in the courses that we teach, so that you can have access to a lot of different somatic videos and building your practice. But another one is, through your breath. And as Mia was saying, the VU is such a powerful way to awaken your soul. And box breathing is another powerful one. And box, we call it box breathing because we hold each thing that we're doing for a count of 4. And if that's not comfortable for you, you can certainly modify it. It can be 2 at first. It could be longer, 8 if you want to, play around and see what your system likes. But the box breathing is just breathing in for 4, holding for 4, breathing out for 4, and then staying empty for 4. So let's try that. We'll do it twice together just to kind of see what our experiences are and to be in this space together and trying these things on. So I'll be the counter.
Love
And
box breathing. And I want to say, guys, when you exhale and you count to 4, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I have no oxygen. You can do it. It's incredibly powerful as you go through each one. And then when you can expand it out further, like Lori was saying, it's fun because one, your capacity is less if you're amped up or you're having issues.
Mhm.
And so as you go through, you start to settle down like your body's on hydraulics and it gets very relaxed. And you'll see that you have the capacity to hold more. I love
Yeah,
it.
and that can be something that some data that you collect, right? Oh, I'm noticing in my box breathing practice, I could only do, 2 seconds, or I could do 8 and it felt easy. Like, oh, that tells me something. That gives me some information about the state I was in and about my nervous system in general. So let's go through a couple of rounds and we'll start by breathing in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, empty, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, empty, 2, 3, 4. And as you notice, Mia has her eyes closed. I always end up closing my eyes when I'm doing my practices. Try that on. Try on, eyes open, eyes closed. There's no right or wrong way. It's just, what do you like? What does your system ask for? I don't think I can do these things with my eyes open, but there are some people who say, oh, I feel vulnerable when I close my eyes. It does not feel good, which is also absolutely fine. Aubrey, this is, yes, recommitting yourself to follow up with a challenge for what I do for earnings and growth. Yeah, it's all woven together, right? Belly breathing, absolutely. I should really look into joining the academy. Yeah. The academy is, and we'll just say, it's the academy is like taking a master's program to get to know yourself. We really spend a lot of time in the academy focusing in on your authentic self. Who am I really? Becoming firmly rooted, working with your nervous system and your thoughts and your emotions and your physical health and your relationships. And from that place of giving you access to your greatest self has the clarity to know what you want in life, in your career, in your relationships, in your health, in your spirituality, in all of the areas. And your greatest self knows how to get you there. But towards the end of the work in the academy, we take you through the dream, believe, create process, which is step by step. Okay, now I know what I really want. Now I know what will actually bring meaning and purpose in my life. How do I go about creating it? And we literally have the step by step, step one, step two, and lead you through that. But first, we're going to get you connected to your greatest self that has the power to do it and the clarity. So, yes, the academy would be amazing, and we are open for enrollment with that. So all of you should know that, and always, be thinking about that. There is no one
We,
that it would not support.
we actually have a surprise that we were going to announce next week, but we'll
Yeah.
announce it now. And that
Oh, spurring the early surprise announcement. Okay, I love it.
We love the Academy so much that we decided for Black Friday that we were going to cut it by 50%. And so come to the challenge, come to these talks, ask your questions. 50% reduction is a huge, huge amount. It's beautiful. When I say a huge, huge amount, we all love discounts. So that's why I'm saying that it's amazing. So you get your eight months, you get the program of the greatest you, which is an up-leveled. See, I call this all self-love. Forgive me, guys, if it irritates you, but anything that you better yourself with or get to know who you are, to me, is love. I'm a love
Of
girl. It's
course.
very
Yeah.
much who we are and who we become. So we're very excited. So the price of the, should I give you a price or will they?
Yeah. No,
Okay, so
absolutely. You're
so
gonna,
the so
yeah.
if you we're gonna have Pablo change it this week so everybody can pay when they want, if they want to sign up for it. But its normal price is 444 and it'll be down to 222. And
Mhm.
if you do need a payment plan, let me know so that we can create that for you. It's normally not on there. We usually do one payment or two payments, but we're wanting to see if this supports people as well. And if they jump for it, if you like it and you want it, it's yours. And so it will come off of that though after the Black Friday. So be aware that for almost a month, it'll be at the 2222 for you guys to jump into, which is all about the somatic experiencing, the emotional intelligence, the learning to be mindful, creating a life that you actually want. Anything else that I left out of there?
I mean,
We also have the self-love tools in there, all
yeah.
sorts of stuff.
And with that, we also have been offering access to the recording of our parts retreat. So there's, education around the parts practice. There's also, we've been offering our incredible Ready for Love course, which is
Which is
for
free in there.
people, who are wanting to create
A
special
different relationship.
different relationship,
Yeah.
divinely connected relationships, and the exploration of going from self-love to love with another, and how that relates and how important that piece of self-love is before you can have the relationship that you really truly want. It's also geared towards people who there is parts of that course that are geared towards helping people get out there again and learn how to date and how to, the world is a lot different now, and so there is some of that in there as well. Mia, the link is
Is
great.
the greatest you academy.com.
Yeah.
And I am going to ask Pablo to change the price right now.
Yes, and Aubrey, send us an email and we can figure out, we're always working with people to get the right payments and things like that, because at the end of the day, what's most important is that you get what you need. So, yes, but please do be thinking about that. It's the perfect time.
I'm just
People
excited
sometimes,
about it.
I know, me too. People sometimes will say, it's the holidays and I'm going to be busy. And it's like, actually, the holidays is the best time to have a little bit extra support and to be able to go into it, being connected to yourself, so that you can actually have, that connected, present experience with the holidays, instead of getting overwhelmed and feeling like, oh, I feel like I should be like this, but instead it feels just chaotic, and I don't feel connected with others, with myself, let alone with others. So we gave you today 3 of the 4 practices. The next one is one that's a little bit, you might want to try this one into maybe after like the second into the 3rd and 4th week of this somatic experiencing challenge that we're making up today. But this one is, I would ask you to take a couple of moments, maybe a minute or 2 of your practice, to just scan your body. Start down at your feet, notice what's going on there, and just pay attention to the sensations that are present in your body, moving up from your feet, up through your legs, your hips in the chair, your belly, your heart, shoulders, your arms, your jaw, your neck, face, and your head. And just go through the whole body, and then listen for the one place in your body that might be calling to you. Oh, I really notice. I feel like I have a pit in my stomach, or my heart feels constricted, or my jaw feels like there's a lot of tension. Pay attention to that area that seems to be calling, and then find a way to support it for the last minute or so. So with your jaw, it could be resting your elbows on the table, letting your face just be cradled and supported. For the tummy, it could be your arms, it could be a pillow, it could be any of these things. Play around with, but provide that support to that area, and see what it seems to be saying to you, what it seems to be needing and wanting. And so, as I said, this is a little bit, maybe we could say a little bit more advanced if you're not used to paying attention to your body, or maybe in the past your body's not been a safe place. Because it houses those intense feelings that maybe we haven't ever been really supported in knowing what to do with them. And these are good things to notice. Everything, remember, is about data collection. And so as we're sharing these exercises with you and the power of them, please know that we're available to you. Bring us your experiences with these exercises and let us know, hey, I'm stuck on this, or when I did this happened. Is this normal? What should I do? Like, how do I get through this? And because that's the whole point. And each one of you will have a different experience. And of course, and we
I
want to
really love,
support you.
sorry, Lori. I really love what the girls on the camera are doing. They're my cam girls. They're touching themselves in a way that's comforting, or
Yeah.
could be pain. We don't know, you guys, what we are actually about until we dig into ourselves. Why? The basic reason is we are a puritanical country in the United States. Most of us are here in this country. And so England gave us our Puritans, which told us that our bodies were terrible and that sex was horrible and all of that crap. So what do we have to do? We have to learn to touch ourselves, to heal ourselves, to love ourselves, because it was not provided like other, and believe it or not, certain countries do have a more connected space because they don't have those thoughts upon them. So understand, when you touch yourself, when you understand, like we were on, Lori and I were or I was talking to her this morning because my head really hurt this morning. So I kept rubbing it on this left side here so much that I thought I'm going to turn myself bright red. But it's absolutely something needed to be broken up there in my sinuses, and I feel a lot better. So touch is so important.
Yeah, touch really is. And it's not only, and I mean, I agree with you, Mia, but it's also, we're really taught as a society to ignore our bodies, right? And to just drive through. We're, oh, my back hurts from sitting at the desk. How can I push myself? How can I ignore it so I can push myself through to get more done? Right? The idea that, oh, my back is hurting, so I need to step away from my work now, right? That's crazy to so many of us. We're not taught, we're not encouraged to let our bodies be the boss, right? We're used to shutting it down. Ignore, how do I ignore this so that I can do what I want to do, instead of, oh, hey body, what are you telling me? Right. So it is in this last exercise that we're suggesting is the opportunity, even for these 3 to 5 minutes, to put your body in charge. Right. Yeah. And says it's our guide and our messengers. Absolutely. Our bodies are so much wiser and hold so much knowledge and wisdom. And it always, honestly, it always shocks me, even though I've done somatic parts work and I've had, thousands of sessions with people, it literally always shocks me how incredible it is for me to get to be inside an experience with somebody when they're tapping into the wisdom of their body and the things that it shares, and the wisdom and the beautiful intuition. It's unlike anything, and you can't have these experiences and then be the same person afterwards. You're literally different, and having your body on your side and with that connection, it's like having your best friend, your trusted, confidant with you every single moment, that will never let you down, will always be that source of validation and companionship and acceptance and love and attention. So we really will start here with this 30-day challenge. You've got these 4 exercises to be playing around with, gathering information. We will spend a couple of minutes, as much as you guys want, on this, and you guys give us your feedback and your experiences so that we can really honor the work that you're doing over these 30 days. And then, Mia, we should go back and answer that question. Audrey wanted to say, she's wondering how someone can invite someone close or someone that lives in the same place, to try and reciprocate concepts to help us to be accountable with our practice. So
can I, since I know these people, the husband too, can I,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yes,
Can I
absolutely.
just throw something in? I think that that's really beautiful, Aubrey. Very beautiful to want to connect with your spouse like that. What I believe is that maybe you should make a really lovely special dinner for him and talk to him about it. Literally open up that way. But when we communicate with our partners, we want to do it on their time frame, in the space that if he's aggravated or frustrated, obviously that's not the right time. Sometimes as women, we produce a special moment in time where we can communicate because they're happier. So, and then you could even bring up, honey, this dinner that I made for you is because I love you and I'd like us to be connected more and deeper. You understand the work that I do or that I'm into, and are you up for that? Is that how you would go about it, Lori? How would you go about it?
I mean, obviously
Hell no, I'm gonna tie him to a chair and say, honey.
well, and the more information we have about our partner the better, right? So as I'm speaking kind of from a general terms, I think that it can be, first of all, for you to take some time and to explore, why is this important to me that he does it with me? And if the answer is so that I can fix him, so that he can be more something that I want him to be, it's probably not the best idea. Because it's not going to come from a place of, where he's not going to feel like, I need to be fixed, because that's not what it's about. And I think, so often it's crazy how our you might say to someone, and this can be, anyone, a friend or something else, they might say, oh my gosh, I read this book about this, like, let's just say it was Joe Dispenza. Oh my gosh, about, this meditation and about how it could change people's lives and people healing from it. You should really read this. You got to start meditating because I love you and I want, the best for you in your life. And the person hears, oh, they think I'm some low level, individual who needs to be fixed. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with the things that I'm doing? Right. And the intention is not necessarily to, or that you're even feeling or thinking that way, but it can be heard that way. And so we have to be kind of really sensitive to that, because then we can set someone back and make it so that they're really turned off from these things. A lot of times, I think our best way to go about it is either just to do it and to kind of let it be known. Hey, I just wanted to let you know, I'm going to try this thing, and just see, and I'm just sharing it with you because, you're important to me, and I like to keep you involved in my life, but here's what I'm going to be doing. Oh, by the way, if you wanted to join me, that could be really cool. And I think I'd be more accountable if you were there beside me, but no pressure. I can, try it and let you know what I think, whatever. Just keeping it really gentle and just an open invitation, right? Can I think, especially with men, because men are very much and Mia, you can join in on this, but very much tend to feel like they're doing something wrong all the time, that they're not living up to, or they're what we can be a little bit needy, but also just, they have that desire to, they're, of course, women have the desire
They're
to
there
please
for
as
in
well.
service. Men want to serve us. They
Yes.
want to support us. They want to fix our problems.
Yes.
And so I really I like my approach too, but that's secondary after the other approach comes. I was also thinking about it, and experience and practice makes proficiency. That's what we talk about, right? So what if you began doing the work, Aubrey, and allowing your energy space to ripple out, to be different, to allow Rod to recognize this. Excuse me, didn't mean to say that, his name, allow him to experience it through you. And then you can approach him, right? See how he's acting or reacting to things. Yeah.
Yeah. And from that place, you'll be more connected to your goddess self, your greatest self, that has better intuition and wisdom around what would serve him better, both of you a little bit better. Yeah. Just wanted to say welcome, Julie. We're wrapping up for today, but I do hope that you will watch the replay when it gets sent out, because we had a really great time today, and made some offers and set up a potential challenge for you over the month of November. So we don't want to miss out. Are there any other questions that we can answer about this? And remember, in between now and, oh, look at that. In between now and next week, when we'll check back in with this, if anything comes up, we're available. Email us, you can Facebook, and we can continue to support you as you explore this.
Yeah, beautiful. So if you guys have questions that you want to talk to us about, write us. We have our own name emails, Mia at Mia Saenz, Lori at Lori Montry, remember the .com. Also, be aware that the I Am Self-Love, Mirror Mirror Challenge, because this is off of the Mirror Mirror book, is coming up. So it's IamSelfLoveChallenge.com. We're also going to write about the Somatic Experiencing Challenge. I might include that in the I Am Self-Love Challenge too, and then you guys would keep going. So we'll talk and check in. I think that it's important. It's time for us to bring totally, and that's one reason why we did this I Am Self-Love Somatic Experiencing, because it's time to bring those two worlds together very much. And the Mirror Mirror book is not about well, I don't even know, except for, I mean, what I do know is that it's tools and processes that I have in there. It's not your typical self-love book. Some of the more typical stuff you'll find in my other books. So this is actually processes to be done every single day just to get to know yourself. So I wanted to share that.
Very beautiful.
Okay, I'm going to turn off the recorder if that's okay.